Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and today I'm going to be using the Simple Stories Into the Wild collection, as well as the Scrapbook Generation, the whole picture sketch number 5. This sketchbook only has 4x6 photos. I love pulling out this sketchbook when I don't really want to plan out my photos or resize them. It's just awesome to have a layout with just 4x6 photos. It's also a great way to showcase some larger photos and to showcase a double page layout with maybe not a lot of photos on it. I did change up the sketch a little bit because I wanted to use the 2x2 squares, and I didn't really think that process through when I was planning this out because I'm going to have to recut that paper with all the animals on it. I did have to pull out a flip flap to add 2 additional photos. So the sketch calls for 5 photos, but I'm actually going to get 7 photos on my layout. The sketch calls for a strip of paper over on the right-hand side above the photos. And I think the paper was supposed to probably be about 1 inch because the photos offset themselves. And when I saw the 2x2 squares, I thought, it would be really nice to have all of the animals from the 2x2 squares on this layout because these photos are from the zoo, and the zoo has a carousel that has all kinds of different animals, not just horses. There's zebras and tigers and lions and things like that, and even a dragon that Eli ended up sitting on. So I cut out the animals that I thought would work, as well as a 2x2 square that says zoo a day. And then I wanted to use the stripe paper on the back of these 4x4s, so I was trying to decide which one I could not use on my layout so that I could make sure to save the ones that I possibly could use in the future. So I cut out some 1/4 inch strip to add to the top and bottom of these photos and paper. And of course, I did not cut it straight, so I had to bring the trimmer and paper back out. I even tried to line the paper up to make sure that it really was the exact same size. That made it a little bit easier, but I still struggled with it. So this is where I was like, man, I totally should have waited to cut this paper because I'm going to need another inch because of the 2x2 squares. And this paper has all the animals on it, but I wanted to make sure that I could see the majority of the animals. So I did mess around with the paper just a little bit to figure out where I could cut it so that I could have several animals and not just a jungle scene. I did decide to ink up the edges, and I want to say that the video I posted a little while ago where I discussed about inking edges, I'll link it here for you guys. Someone had made a comment about the inking of edges not being a thing anymore, and I was really surprised at how many of you guys had opinions on that. I know that leaving comments on my videos, sometimes you guys are amazing about it. There are certain people who comment on almost all of my videos, and I truly appreciate that. I do answer every comment. But that video, you guys were like, I need to discuss this topic. I think that was my most commented video in a very long time. So the comments were definitely divided. Half of you were like, absolutely, I ink on everything. Half of you were like, I don't really ink at all. And then some of you were like, you're like me. I ink on some pages, I don't ink on others. And it is absolutely a personal preference in regards to inking on your layouts. I think that I was just taken aback by somebody saying that it wasn't, because I do feel like everything that we do in scrapbooking is a personal preference. I'm a double page scrapbooker, and I know that that's a personal preference. Some people are like, I can't do double pages, I'm only going to do single pages. I feel that way about single pages, but it's all personal preference, and we all enjoy this hobby, and I appreciate you guys following along on my channel. You're enjoying my content, and I'm enjoying giving you the content. I'm going to be scrapbooking either way, so I might as well share that with the world because you guys seem to enjoy it, and I appreciate all of your likes and comments. And I was just really surprised at how many people had to weigh in on the inking. All right, so I rambled there a little bit, so let's get back to the layout. I have added all of my photos down as well as my papers, and I also am adding the 1/4 inch strip down. When I trimmed off the 2x2 squares, I cut the paper. So I had to add some washi tape to the back of the layout because I had a big line that was cut in the back of the layout. I recently picked this collection up within the last couple of months, and I'm so sad that I didn't get the collection earlier because I missed out on like a lot of the embellishment pieces. The only embellishment pieces that were available were like the journaling pieces, and those things are huge. So I do have a couple of the embellishments. But if you follow my channel, you know that I like to have everything in a collection because I like to be able to mix and match all the different element pieces. I like having different types of texture with the enamel shapes and the brads, the stickers, the foam stickers, the embellishment pieces. I like to have it all because I feel like sometimes I just need different textures in my clusters. So I started looking through the papers trying to decide what I was going to use for my title, and I found 2 cards that I thought would work really well. The first one is an orange tag that says, "Let's go on an adventure," and it actually has an exclamation point at the end of it, and I'm going to cover that up because I want my title to be, "Let's go on an adventure into the wild," because even though this is a carousel, I feel like we are on an adventure because there's so many different types of animals on this carousel as opposed to just a regular carousel with horses. So I laid the orange tag down and I did use my hole punch to punch out the tag part at the top so I can add some twine to the top of it. And then for the 3x4 card that says "Into the Wild," I do add that up on fun foam. And I make sure to place it over the exclamation point so that it reads as a full sentence as opposed to "Let's go on an adventure" being its own thing. I then pulled out my jute twine, and I get this twine at the Dollar Tree. I feel like I purchased this a long time ago. It was $1.25 and it seems to last me forever. I do pull out my glue dots because I like for my twine to stay in a certain spot. I decided to pull out this collection from Echo Park called Practically Perfect because I knew that it had a carousel horse on it, and I wanted to use this horse so bad. It would have looked so great on my layout, but it was so big. And I only have the collection pack. I didn't purchase any of the other pieces from Echo Park because I do want to document some Mary Poppins layouts with that pack, but I don't have a lot of photos with her. So I was like, I don't need everything else. I can just do with the sticker sheet and maybe add some of my own embellishments as well as some Disney embellishments. But I did find a sticker that says "Sweet and Magical," and it has a carousel on it. So it really wasn't what I wanted to add to it, but I still got that element of the carousel, and that's what I was looking for. I then decided to pull out my stitching tools. So I have my Tim Holtz ruler, and I'm just going to add a line of stitching to the top and bottom of the layout. And I'm going to add the thread in a brown color because the wood grain that's on that Into the Wild is so dark, and the trees as well in that paper. I felt like I needed to add some darkness to the layout, especially since my stripes were very pastel colors. And I love the way that that dark brown thread next to the stripe paper turns out. It just gives it the right amount of contrast. So I do pull my threads apart because I use 3 strands of a 6-strand embroidery thread. And then I also pulled out my threaders and my needles. All of these tools are linked in an Amazon storefront below for you if you would like to pick up any of those. Those are an affiliate link, so I do have to tell you that if you purchase them, I do receive a very, very small commission from it. Once I got the stitching done on the top and bottom, then I started to look through the stickers again, trying to figure out what else I wanted to add. I knew I wanted to add a couple more animals into the clusters. I was trying to pull out some stickers that would match the animals that the kids were riding. My friend's daughter is riding a zebra, so I knew I had to pull that out. But then there wasn't really anything else. Eli's on a dragon, and then my friend's son is on a horse, and I really couldn't find any stickers to match with that. So I decided that I would pull out a hippo as well as a leaf, and I added that to the top right hand side. I pulled out that carousel again, thinking maybe I can try to make it work on the top left hand side. It doesn't make it. So I pull back out the sticker sheet and I'm looking through trying to find just some other elements that would work. I do end up adding a yellow flower, and then from the puffy stickers I pulled out that same green leaf that's on the right hand side and added it to the cluster on the left. And then I pulled out the self-adhesive brads and added some of the smaller brads to each one of the clusters. And then I finally decided to pull out my color boxes in pink and green and added those to each one of the clusters. One of the enamel dots that I have does not have any backing on it. Like, it pulls off very easily. So I did have to use some liquid adhesive for that. And then that is it for this video. Here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. I did my journaling offline. It does not say very much at all. I just added, no visit to the zoo would truly be complete without taking a whimsical wildlife adventure ride on the Wild Jungle Carousel, which is the name of the carousel at the zoo. All right, if you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.